century prophet A.W. Tozer. He is the author of over 40 books that you aren't likely to find at your local Christian bookseller. So where can you go to find such inspiration? Introducing Cornerstone Books, with the largest selection available of the writings of A.W. Tozer, Amy Carmichael, Richard Wurmbrand, and countless others. Cornerstone Books makes the truth available worldwide with the detail and personality of a local bookseller. Visit the website at www.cornerstone-unlimited.com for a complete inventory of its authors, as well as audio files and much, much more. That's www.cornerstone-unlimited.com. Or you can call toll-free at 888-239-9890. That's 888-239-9890.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
You're listening to The Micro Effect.
And welcome and good evening to all. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show, and I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and I want to thank you, as always, for being a loyal listener of this program. And as always, I always try to bring the very best topics, the most recent and up-to-date information for everyone on this broadcast. And I thank you for listening, as always. And of course, as every evening, as the beginning of the hour starts, we have our news correspondent, Paul Landers, and he will be coming up in just a second with the news of the evening and today's articles. So everybody stick with us. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show, and we'll be back in just a second.
Good evening, everyone. This is Paul Landers for the Whole Agenda Radio Show with news tonight, broadcasting to you live on the Micro Effect Network. Psychologist accused of hypnotizing a woman into believing she possessed multiple personalities and participated in satanic rituals is being sued by her and several others who say they were also told they had been part of a satanic cult. Lisa Nassif, 41, of St. Paul, Minnesota, is suing her former therapist, Mark Schwartz, and the Castlewood Treatment Center in St. Louis, Missouri, where she received 15 months of treatment for anorexia. Instead of improving, Nassif suffered great physical pain and suffering and anguish during her time at the facility. She was hospitalized multiple times, her lawyer, Kenneth Volsky, told ABC News. One time she tried to commit suicide. She's done much better now that she's been away from there. The complaint alleges Nassif's therapist, Mark Schwartz, carelessly and negligently hypnotized her while she was under the influence of various psychotropic medications to treat depression and anxiety. The hypnosis allegedly created false memories, including the belief that she was a member of a satanic cult and that she was involved in or perpetrated various criminal and horrific acts of abuse. One of those such acts included sacrificing her sister's baby on the altar of Satan. Nassif was in a highly vulnerable physical and mental state due to her pre-existing eating disorder. The lawsuit also alleges Schwartz persuaded and convinced her to become increasingly isolated from her family and friends by leading her to believe that they were involved in a satanic cult, and they had been and would continually to sexually abuse her and force her to engage in criminal acts and horrific abuse of others. But then other women receiving treatment at the facility began to realize their stories were very similar to one another's. She's got together with the other women who have been through this with her at Crestwood, and they have said, "How can we all have been members of cults and not know it?" 2 years ago, 3 years ago? We all got brainwashed. This can't be right. Now multiple individuals are speaking out about Castlewood and backing NASA's account of what took place. We've got other cases we're looking at right now. The alleged victim stories, all involving women, look remarkably similar. At this stage, he declined to say exactly how many women are claiming false memory implantation. Forget why you walked into a room? The doorways are to blame. So what am I doing here anyway? Have you ever gotten that thought? Most of us have. Even the most nimble-minded among us pondered that question after walking into a room with some purpose in mind to get something perhaps, only to blank on what that purpose was. Now a new study suggests that it's the very act of walking through a doorway that causes these strange memory lapses. Entering or exiting through a doorway serves as an event boundary in the mind, which separates episodes of activity and files them away, said our researcher Gabriel Radvansky. Recalling the decision or activity that was made in a different room is difficult because it has been compartmentalized. In other words, like in the movies, threshold crossing signals the end of a scene. The explanation follows from a series of experiments that probed the relationship between memory and various types of home wandering. One group selected an object from one table and exchanged it for an object at a different table in another room. He then had a second group perform the same task between tables but in the same room. The difference between the two groups' performances was astounding. Despite the simplicity of their task, people were 2 to 3 times as likely to forget what they were supposed to do after walking through a doorway. This suggested that doorways acted as mental blocks, impeding our ability to retrieve memories formed elsewhere. But was it actual threshold crossing that did cause their memory lapses, or was it simply being in a different environment than in the one in which they learned their task? To find out, they had the volunteers perform another object exchanging task. But this time the task required them to pass through several doorways, leading back to the room in which they started. When they went through multiple doorways, the error rate increased 2 to 3-fold. This suggests that the act of passing through doorways, rather than the fact of being in a different environment, kills memory. So why does this happen? When we are moving through the world, it is a very continuous and dynamic, and to deal with it more efficiently, we separate things. Architects are extremely interested in this research because they want to design spaces that are more effective. For example, they might need to consider where you need doorways and where you don't. Kingston, New York. 2 Kingston, New York youngsters called 911 in an attempt to talk to Santa Claus, police say. About 11 a.m. Sunday, 2 children, age 4 and 6, called 911 and asked to speak to either the police chief, but they really wanted to speak to Santa Claus. Police say officers paid a visit to the Kingston home, interviewed the family and kids, and tutored them on the proper use of the emergency number. And then finally, tonight's proverb. Walk with the land and not against it. And that's it for me tonight. It's been Paul Landers for the Whole Agenda Radio Show. Rob will be right up with tonight's special guest. Thank you and good night.
And welcome back, everybody. This is the Whole Agenda Show, and our very special guest for tonight is Dr. Louis TURI. Dr. TURI, like the great prophet Nostradamus, Dr. TURI was born and raised in Provence, France. He was influenced by Nostradamus's methods of divine astrology and spent many years reviving the seer's rare method. He grew up speaking the same, now disappearing dialect. In 1997, he received the highest distinction musicianship award, cup, and graduated from the Royal School of Music in London. He moved to the U.S. in 1984 and has since established himself as a successful astrologer, author, and lecturer. In 1993, he received a metaphysical doctorate from the Progressive Universal Life Church based in Sacramento, California. His notoriety skyrocketed after rekindling, practicing, and teaching
Rob,
Nostradamus' rare divine astrology method, which he calls astropsychology. He has also appeared on numerous radio and television programs worldwide. Dr. Turi is known for hundreds of accurate predictions he makes. He writes a yearly periodical with all these predictions called Moon Power Star Guide. The printed process makes the proof of his predictions totally unarguable. Dr. Turi, thank you so much for being on this program, and I welcome you with us.
thank you for having me, Robert. It's always an honor to work with you.
Oh, thank you, and I appreciate your presence here. I know how busy you are as an individual, how much work you do, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And Dr. Turi, a little more on your background. I know it was just a brief introduction, just a synopsis of your life, because it goes much deeper than just a paragraph and a half.
That's indeed very true, my friend. I am extraordinarily busy trying to keep up with the constant demand for people needing directions, and of course the world, as I write newsletters that are read constantly. So I am a busy guy. And as far as my background is concerned, I was born and raised in the south of France, in Provence, where the great Nostradamus was born. Again, I don't have nothing to do with the prophet himself, apart from that I was born under the same stars in Provence, and there may be something with it because I do practice his 16th century divine astrology methodology.
Absolutely. And Dr. Turi, I know that we have been going through, and I talk about this all the time on my program. This is one of my most outspoken subjects, is what is taking place right now physically on the planet, and the human aspect of the transition that we are going through right now.
Basically, Robert, I teach my students that they are no accident, just circumstances that are not yet understood by science and humanity at large. Everything that is transpiring right now, in reference to what I call the implosion of the Middle East, was predicted on the Art Bell show in 1995, well before Osama bin Laden made it to CNN. And I do have, of course, the recording of these predictions when I predicted a religious war that would affect the United States and the Middle East. What people do not understand is that the planets above your head are much more than dead rock hanging there for the sake of beauty. Planets, stars have a spiritual essence that conduct the destiny of humanity. In other words, I'm sure you heard of the words lunatic, moody, and crabby, which is coming from the moon, which regulates any human's emotional response to life. Now, you have a celestial family out there: Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Mercury, the moon, Venus, Pluto, name it. And each one of this celestial body, as imposed by God, has a very specific magnetic energy that is interacting not only with the human psyche at a personal level, but also at the world at large. And this is why I always say, in the absence of cosmic consciousness, the only thing you have left is science, religion, or conspiracies. And that's where we're at.
Point well taken, Dr. Turi. Okay, with that being said, as individuals on this planet and what you see transpiring with this Occupy Wall Street, and I believe people worldwide now are fed up. They've had enough of the manipulation of the banksters who have taken control of basically almost every aspect of our life. How do you see this transition now unfolding, moving forward through the next year and the years beyond?
You better tie up your seatbelt, my friend.
Okay, it's tied.
Back in 2007, well, before anyone mentioned the word economy, I was on George Norrie Coast to Coast show, and I told George many times after that too, as I'm a regular guest on his show, I told him to be ready for a complete restructure of the United States the United States economy. And it's happening. But again, there is a reason for everything. As far as the implosion and the restructure of the Middle East is concerned, and there is a planet right now called Pluto. And of course, a bunch of morons, excuse my French, without cosmic consciousness, downgrade this planet to a dwarfed something. What I'm trying to explain to you, knowing that Pluto is the farthest and the smallest planet, because it is a planet, it is still the most powerful energy affecting humanity and the masses at large. This planet is currently into the sign of Capricorn. Capricorn rules the snobs, structure, power. It regulates influence and control, anything to do with politics and secret society. It rules power itself. It controls the police force. It controls the criminal element. It controls the unknown, death, decay. It's called in Greek mythology the Lord of Hell. This planet, being in Capricorn, is forcing power itself to realize its limits. And as generation after generation, they are not necessarily religiously inclined or religiously poisoned. These generations are being moved by another energy called the Age of Aquarius. And that is what is producing all this negativity. Meantime, the trillions and billions of dollars that was stolen away from the sweat of the hard-working American and invested in foreign ground, in order to reach those people, sad enough, we are the taxpayer, the middle class in the front line, and we are the one taking the hit. The proof of that is, of course, that the very power itself has saved all those banks and keeps saving those banks. The very people, the very perpetrator, the very abusers are the ones that are being saved constantly. But in order to reach them, we are in the front line and we have to suffer. What I can tell you is this planet, as we approach the year 2012, is going to get much more powerful, much more destructive. It's going to force an implosion of the power itself and is directly aiming at the banking industry. Why, again, I said to George Norrie last time I was on the air in August, to be ready for a full restructure of the banking industry, well before, again, anyone mentioned anything about the banks going bankrupt and keeping going downhill. So this is very, very serious. This energy is already in motion and will be with us all the way up to 2014. And I recall intuitively saying to George Norrie, today I see the Freedom Tower being completely built and operational. this is when America will be born again. Until then, we are in a down spiral, in a quicksand, in a dead, dark, black hole zone, which is going to get worse.
And by worse, Dr. TURI, what do you mean by worse? Because I mean, I've seen the internment camps that they set up all over the country. I've seen the tyrannical laws that this Congress, who has not read one bill that have been written by the bankers, more or less, have passed without even blinking an eye. How much worse is this going to get before we see the light at the end of the tunnel?
As I said, after 2014, when the Freedom Tower will become operational, this is when America will slowly start to rebuild itself to where it belongs, top of the world. So you still have to have hopes. And remember, the future is the reincarnation of the thought. Right now, the tail of the dragon, for the lack of words, the tail of the dragon is an energy coming from the constellation of Draco, which was primarily used by Nostradamus. The tail of the dragon is on 12th state. It moves out of the second house of money early March 2011 and moved into the subconscious house of the United States. And that makes people, especially those born in July, very vulnerable at the subconscious level, mostly because there is such a negativity, such a terrible insecurity taking place, that a form of dementia is actually taking place, to the point where you had lunatics, religious poisoning lunatics like camping, promising the end of the world a couple of times last year. So what I'm trying to tell you is, combined with the full karmic restructure imposed by the cosmic code or God's will, you have now this dragon's tail afflicting the subconscious of the United States. And that literally neutralizes hopes and make people very insecure and very afraid of the future. And that in turn, because there is, for every action there is a reaction, that in turn activates the superconscious in time and space, which is responsible for humanity's future. So what I'm trying to tell people is, regardless, and I know it's very tough, trust me, I've been touched as much as everybody out there, regardless of what is thrown at us, there is a divine order which is taking place slowly but surely, an order imposed by the Creator himself, coming from the stars, the dragon, Pluto, and the celestial family, which has to karmically reach the perpetrators, the people that are now spending good time in foreign land on their yachts, wasting our money. There is a police being built right now, which is going to work with every single country in order to find out who those people are, and they're not going to escape. The problem is, you have to remember also the generation we are in. This generation was born with Pluto in the sign of Virgo, and these people are extraordinarily detail-oriented. They are logisticians, they are scientists, they are practical, and they do not have any spiritual values. So they are very much into the detail, and they are trying, of course, they are missing the forest, looking at a tree, not realizing or not having cosmic consciousness of a very much higher divine purpose imposed by the scheme of things. So what I'm asking people to do is, regardless of what we are going through, keep positive, mostly because there is only two forces at work, and that's where you need to be very objective and let go of your fears and let go of the tree. And being objective meaning that you have to understand the two forces at work here. up and down, black and white, God, devil, the yin and yang, positive, negative. Human beings are batteries, walking batteries with two arms and two legs and two sides of the brain and two eyes and 2 feet. So anytime you give in to negativity, you discharge your body, which is now opening doors to infectious organisms, cancer, depression, schizophrenia, and suicide. Now, you can either go with it and stuff yourself with tons of burger, for example, and poison your physical atomic structure, end up with a heart attack, high blood pressure, or you can still watch television and listen to all the nasty poisoning hamburger, intellectual hamburger, thrown at you that poison your brain and neutralize your battery. It's so very important to understand not to feed evil, not to let the fear, insecurity, guilt, which is poison and cancer of the spirit, get to you. Because when you have a few billions of human beings thinking negatively, that's why now you have a compass that points out north, where the negative process is so strong that it brings the result of constant distraction on the physical and spiritual level. The human psyche has been hijacked by religion, by science, by conspiracy, where the true essence of love and light and respect and pure wisdom and the understanding of the face and tools of God is not appreciated, is not understood, and is not used. So the idea is to be as positive as can be and not to fall. And it's very hard not to do so. It's very hard with the tons of dysfunctional television and news and radios and apocalyptic and conspiracy talking head, which are all unconscious of the manipulation taking place of the superconscious that ultimately will bring its nasty result. The fact of the matter is the future is nothing else than the reincarnation of the thought. And I can get you to ask to answer very simple questions. Like, for example, the computer you're looking at, the microphone you're looking at. You want to tell me what was that piece of equipment, that technology? What was this 100 years ago? Let's go further down the line. The city you are in, Phoenix, like me, Arizona. What was this Phoenix, this city 2,000 or 3,000 years ago? Nothing.
Right, it was desert.
Exactly. We have been made in the image of God. In that respect, we are all God in training on this dense physical world, and we all inherited God's creative power. Of course, you are not going to be taught such deep wisdom because it's against the rules. Knowledge is power, ignorance is evil.
Well, against their rules. Their rules, the rules that they impose on us.
Exactly. But what I'm trying to tell you is when you control someone's source of information, you end up controlling this person's entire life and its wallet. Try to beat the negative energy that is constantly coming at you like a wild train every single day. It is practically impossible.
You're right. It is practically impossible. And what we have to deal with on a daily basis is practically impossible. Not only do we have to deal with the negativity of the influences of their tyrannical pyramidal structure that they've imposed on us, but then we have to deal on a day-to-day basis of the people who are unaware, the sheeple, who are unaware, who simply think that this has happened because of circumstances, and there are no circumstances. Nothing happens by chance. Everything is created exactly the way it's supposed to be created. There are no chance and there is no circumstance. And when I tell people this, Dr. Turi, they look at me like I have, two horns growing out of my head and one eye in my skull, because I try to explain to them that this is a manipulated system. And when I do this, they do not comprehend. The glaze comes over their eyes. But anyway, Dr. Turi, stick with us. We're coming on a break right now. So everybody, this is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and you are listening to an incredible Dr. Turi, the astrophysiologist of our times, or the Nostradamus of our times, though he really has nothing to do with him. Stick around, and you're going to hear a lot more, and you're going to hear the predictions that are coming for the rest of this year, into next year, and for the years to come.
Hello, fellow patriots. This is Big John Lipscomb. There are just two types of people in the world. Those that see the world outside of themselves and therefore can finally estimate the direction things like the economy, the government, and society is headed, and those that can't. The majority of the people in the world are absolutely clueless to the trends and manipulations that go on around our world. To them, everything is by chance and in disorder. As a result of this ignorance, these people are always caught by surprise when governments fail, wars begin, and economies collapse. Every day, with each choice, you define which group you are in. SurvivalistSeeds.com and PatriotFood.com for the rest of us, those of us that are prepared and wide awake.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, son.
What's going on?
Oh, just got my shipment of freeze-dried food from the freeze-dry guy. I was laying away our family supplies here.
Dad, you're not planning to have an emergency, are you?
You don't plan to have them. They happen on their own. You plan a response.
Like what? What could go wrong?
Well, imagine you go to the grocery store and it's empty.
Dad, that's paranoid.
That's possible.
It's paranoid.
It's not paranoid to prepare. It's perfectly prudent.
Okay, Pops, I get your point.
Keep it.
But, Dad, what if we never need it? Won't it go bad?
Oh, no, son. You'll have babies of your own, and this stuff will still be as good as it is today. And it's good, too. Believe me, I've had some.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dad, maybe we could have a practice emergency.
Test the food out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope we don't have a real emergency, son. But if we do, I intend to survive, and I intend for you to survive, too.
Thanks, Dad.
I better get the rest of this put away.
Call 866-404-3663 or go to freezedryguide.com.
Heart and Body Extract continues to receive positive testimonials from people who have experienced amazing results, like Reed.
I just wanted to send you a quick but a very big thank you for Heart and Body Extract. I've been on the formula for nearly a month now, and the improvement in the circulation of my legs has been simply amazing.
Reed was facing a tough choice.
I was facing surgery due to the severity of the 100% blocked arteries in both my legs. And my decision, waiting for surgery, to say no, body extract instead, has been thankfully the right decision.
And the result?
I can now walk up steps without noticeable pain.
Order Heart and Body Extract at 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305, or hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract for a long and healthy life.
The people who have the spirit of Antichrist, they are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, naturally. And the world heareth them because it recognizes its own language. But we are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us.
These are the words of 20th century prophet A.W. Tozer. He is the author of over 40 books that you aren't likely to find at your local Christian bookseller. So where can you go to find such inspiration? Introducing Cornerstone Books, with the largest selection available of the writings of A.W. Tozer, Amy Carmichael, Richard Wurmbrand, and countless others. Cornerstone Books makes the truth available worldwide with the detail and personality of a local bookseller. Visit the website at www.cornerstone-unlimited.com for a complete inventory of its authors, as well as audio files and much, much more. That's www.cornerstone-unlimited.com. www.cornerstone-unlimited.com. Or you can call toll-free at 888-239-9890. That's 888-239-9890.
Nosotros.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and if you just joined us now, you are listening to the incredible Dr. Louis TURI, who is noted as being the 21st century Nostradamus. He has no real affiliation with Nostradamus, but he was born in Provence, France. But his accuracy in predictions for this time and era has been uncanny, and you can actually view his predictions, which he puts out a periodical from his website called Moon Power Star Guide. So it's printed, and he's predicted many things that have taken place over the last decades, and there are many more predictions that are extremely accurate yet to come. Dr. TURI, I'm sorry about the break. You know, we have to do these every once in a while. But the question is, we've been talking about the economy and how things are transpiring, why they've happened. Who and why do you think, okay, and I have my own personal beliefs on this, but why do you think that they have chosen to do this at this time, to create this gigantic robbery and manipulation at this time?
Again, there are no accidents for anything that happened in the human history, as much as I could refer to the Titanic, maybe to Hitler becoming in power. In time and space, the universal wheel is moving, and those planets have energies that translate into the human sphere. Again, it's very difficult, mostly because you're dealing with me like 99.09% of people that do not have cosmic consciousness. You're dealing with me on a physical plane when I'm trying to discuss the archetypal realm of consciousness. And that is like if I was trying to speak with you in Chinese.
Right.
This is not an offense to your intelligence, my friend.
Oh, of course.
What I'm trying to explain is, as the planet moves above, they bring about the big guys, like Uranus, the planet who rules the new age of Aquarius, Neptune, who is responsible for last 2,000 years of deception, religion, confinement, church, synagogue, asylum, drugs. And now one of the top player is called Pluto, the planet of power, moving into the sign of Capricorn, who rules politics, structure, organization, secret society. The fact of the matter is, all these people are laughing their head off because the reality is, and you will not like what I'm going to tell you, my friend.
I can almost be sure of it.
Pluto is on their side.
But why?
Because it is karmically set this way by God all the way to August to 2014 or 15. When I repeat myself, because repetition, even if I sound redundant, is important. When I saw the two towers falling down in the street of New York in 2001, I was so upset. I was crying. Even though that I'm French, I see myself very much Americanized after 40 years spent in this country. And I could tell you that day, my feelings, my intuition, my premonition was, oh my God, America is dying. And for the next few years, this country is going to go through hell. That was my thought as I saw the second tower crashing down, killing innocent Americans. I saw my prediction back in 1995 on Albert taking place on that day. And then, even though that I was very upset, I thought, out of the ashes, because this is what Pluto does, out of the ashes, out of the red burning desert of Arizona, Phoenix was born. Out of the death, ashes of the World Trade Center will be born another beautiful, huge, better, stronger building. And that is what I felt will be the final rebirthing of this country. Until then, do not expect anything to work in the favor of the middle class, hardworking American. Everybody's pissed off. They are, even when I say to George Norrie in 2009, I saw a form of U.S. internal revolution. My God, was I right? And again, because my predictions are printed, dated, broadcasted, there is no doubt, there is no challenging them. What I'm trying to tell you is between now and then, when the Freedom Tower becomes operational, that's when the karma, the pain and the suffering will be over. But meantime, the dollar might have to change color. God knows the next couple of years how difficult it's going to be.
And the difficulties are getting worse and worse. I mean, I've been going through it every single day since 2008, when the first collapse took place, and and the ridiculous idiocies of course of the government, the puppet government that says, oh, everything's getting better, while in reality everything's getting worse and it's collapsing worldwide. And of course I recognize this, the aware observer, which people like me, just ordinary people listening to people who really know, like yourself, follow the reality of what has transpired in front of us, because most people want to live with that veil in front of their eyes. I lifted that veil off very easily, and I looked at everything for exactly what it was and what it is now. So yes, I am going through the suffering, and I believe that we are going to have, like you say, Dr. Turi, that in 2014, the transformation, things were going to transpire in a new direction. But I would say it's always darkest before the dawn, so we are going to have to suffer another, a year and a half, 2 years before this all takes place and manifests into a positive way of life for humanity on this planet.
The tail of the dragon will be entering the sign of Taurus, which is the symbol chosen by Merrill Lynch Corporation of the banking industry. Taurus was also Switzerland, where all the banks are located. The ancient Sumerian, to represent money, solidity, security, exchange, they used the bull, because the bull is a very fixed and stubborn sign. It rains, it's cold, it's windy, doesn't matter. You have to go out and go to work. You have to become a bull when it comes to making money.
And you made a very valid point. And what sits in front of Wall Street? A bull.
Yeah, and then again, as I said, you're coming from the logical point when I'm coming from the archetypal realm of the spirits. So we have a big gap that I'm trying to breach and make you aware of it. That's why it could be a bit difficult, but we can do it if we keep conversing intelligently, because you're a very smart guy. What I'm trying to tell you, for the lack of words, the tail of the dragon is an energy coming from the constellation of Draco that was used primarily by Nostradamus in all these predictions.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
The tail of the dragon is like negative, okay? It's nasty, it's comic, it's difficult. And during my career as an astropsychologist since 1991, I have dealt with people that were born with the tail of the dragon in the sign of Taurus. They are either the most rich, powerful, greedy people in the world, such as this guy that stole the billions of dollars.
Lloyd Blankfein from
Bernie Madoff.
Bernie Madoff. Okay.
Bernie Madoff was born with the tail of the dragon in Taurus. So that means he had many past life in Switzerland and understood the nuts and bolts on how to build a bank and how, investment in corporation works. People have gifts like Mozart, Beethoven, or Einstein. There is no school that produces financial wizards and geniuses. So Madoff was born with this tail of the dragon in Taurus. What he wanted is money, 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 because this is how he could control through his dragon's head in Scorpio, ruled by Pluto. Okay? And at the end, of course, karma got to him. He lost it all. He's in jail and even lost his son. Now, all the children, all the babies that are going to be born from August 15, 2012 to December 2015, all these children will have the same dragon location than what America is going through now, which means those kids will be financial geniuses. They will use it to help the world or to rip everybody off, like these hundreds of thousands, millions of bastards, again, sorry my French, that have used and abused their powers and stole the sweat of Americans by investing the money outside of the country, ruining America. This is a generation after generation, impose circumstances, impose experiences to the world. And right now, we are dealing with that nasty dragon's tail moving in Taurus combined with Pluto. Is all energy written in light that could be very difficult for somebody that do not possess cosmic consciousness. Somebody which is not trained to read the sign can appreciate to understand. Again, in reference to the Bible, it is said,
Dr. Turi?
God. It's all about science.
I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second. I didn't hear. I think it was either me who cut out or you cut out, or you who had cut out. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, in the Bible it is said, I will talk to you, you won't hear me. I will present myself to you, you won't see me. This means that humans have been enslaved by God himself to raise their spiritual vibration, their spiritual values, to understand the sign and understand the will of God through its celestial design. So basically, when you have this type of information, it's like being a musician, being able to listen to the music of the sphere and write this beautiful music on a piece of paper, and the next thing you know, this genius is on stage playing his music. It is the same with everything, including finances, including technology, the art, science. Every human is born with a specific gift, and generation after generation, a certain amount of people get in power, and they impose changes. Right now, we are moving into a generation born with Pluto and Scorpio. They are health fanatic, they are detail-oriented, they are scientists, they are very logical, they are far from being spiritual. And this generation will be soon in power. And they are also totally consumed with secrecy and privacy. They want to know everything about you, and they don't want you to know anything about them.
Right. Hey, Doctor, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to ask you a question. With what's transpiring now, because right now it's all based on the financial and the destruction of the middle class worldwide, not just in the United States. Mm-hmm. But when you are seeing this unfold, do you see a revolutionary upheaval take place? And I do not advocate violence, and I never have. But through history, with change, has always been a violent change. Do you see this transpiring as a violent change, or as a peaceful change to simply get rid of these people and to bring our own vibrant wisdom back to the world and our economy?
Robert, you're trying to change the scheme of things. Let me help you this way. Maybe you understand. It takes 2,000 years for one planet to affect the destiny of the world and humanity. Last 2,000 years, the world was under the jurisdiction of a planet called Neptune, or the sign of Pisces, which is a symbol chosen by Christians, okay? Now, Neptune is not an intellectual sign. It is a believer. Neptune rules confinement, church, synagogue, drugs, chemical, depression, anything that well with oil, and the Middle East. And that's why the Middle East, being a Neptunian Pisces area, poisoned the world with oil, which is also a Neptune product, and of course poisoned the spirits, because all the major religions were born in the Middle East. Now, the age of Pisces is coming to an end, okay?
Yes.
And a new planet is coming in power. This new planet is called Uranus. Now, Uranus is vibrant. It rules geniuses. Uranus is a fixed sign, is an intellectual sign. It rules technology, the future of humanity, the impossible, the incredible, UFOs, and has helped mankind to make more discovery in 50 years than 2,000 years we spent under the energy of Neptune, which is more based upon religion and faith. Okay? So what's happening here? As much as Neptune had the power for 2,000 years and built an armada of 875 different religions, where everybody killed themselves because their God or their beliefs is better than yours.
Right.
Okay, this age is dying, and you can see it with the Middle East being imploded because of the new generation who are not the same type than their rulers. They don't want to be controlled. They want to know the truth. They are into computers and technology and cell phone and the internet. So the new energy of Aquarius is slowly spreading all over the world. And Aquarius rules humanitarianism. It rules the masses that will rebel, a revolution. It rules anything that is revolution that will induce the change for freedom. So this age of Aquarius wants everybody to speak English, for example. That energy is producing one world government. This energy is bringing about the truth. See, during the old day, when Pisces, or the age of Pisces and religion was more in charge, the the church had control over everything and monopolized everything. You could go to any hotel, you would pull the drawer and you would see a Bible, correct?
Right.
Nowadays, they cannot put a laptop in every drawer in every hotel like they used to do. So the Pope has to adapt, bringing gays and lesbians and turning them into priests, bringing a gypsy that was destroyed by the Christian before into the game, because these people means money. So the church is constantly adapting to keep power, to keep control over the spirit that has been poisoned for 2,000 years by Neptune. But this is changing. We are moving into a very different world where you cannot lie, where the truth has to be right there in front of your eyes in a matter of a second because of technology. And all these people that have done what they did, they could do it because the age of Pisces and deception and manipulation is still stronger than the burgeoning age of Aquarius. So ultimately, we are at that period in time and space in humanity where we are taking the hit because we are moving from one sign to another sign. In other words, there is a war on Earth, but the war is also taking place above your head with the stars moving along. But if you do not understand, because you're stuck on a dense physical world, you can only use your 5 human senses. You don't have cosmic consciousness, so you have to blame your government. You have to blame science. You have to blame God knows what, because you're suffering. But the order and the objectivity behind it is much more divine, much more refined than what you could ever comprehend, my friend. And I'm trying to give you as much logical information as I can because I can see the divinity taking place from the cosmic code slowly translating into this dense physical world. But we are in very, very deep negative water right now. But, as I said, it's like all these kids that were born just... they were teenagers at the beginning of the First and Second World War. They were wasted. That's why I call them the baby wasted generation in my book, The Power of the Dragon. Each generation has a very specific part to play. Now, when you have those that are supposed to be the representative of God on earth, who have no cosmic consciousness, don't understand the face, the tools, and the sign. When you have politicians that do not even understand themselves, they don't have any cosmic consciousness. When you have an infantile science who challenges the divinity of God and His creation by thinking the stars are just dead rock hanging there for the sake of beauty, it is not a surprise that this world became such a chaotic place. The laws have been infringed. The laws are being infringed from the get-go since 2,000 years. And only when man and humanity raise its cosmic consciousness and understand the sign will the challenge be taking place in an intelligent way. Right now, I see a lot of disturbance. I see the Middle East being completely imploding in itself. I see some serious war ahead of us. My gosh, this is not going to be nice. But
I know, Dr. Turi, I want to pick that up on the other side because that's what I wanted to get into next. The predictions of how this is all going to transpire, and definitely I want to talk about earth changes that are so very, very prevalent. They're so noticeable. It doesn't matter if the mainstream media talks about them or not. Because the alternative media is right there to pick it up, and it's in our face on a daily basis. So everybody stick with us. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and you are listening to the incredible Dr. Turi, and he is our Nostradamus of the 21st century, and he is the astropsychologist of today's society. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
Do that.
fellow patriots, this is Big John Lipscomb. There are just two types of people in the world. Those that see the world outside of themselves and therefore can finally estimate the direction things like the economy, the government, and society is headed, and those that can't. The majority of the people in the world are absolutely clueless to the trends and manipulations that go on around our world. To them, everything is by chance and in disorder. As a result of this ignorance, these people are always caught by surprise when governments fail, wars begin, and economies collapse. Every day, with each choice, you define which group you are in. Survivalistseeds.com and patriotfood.com for the rest of us, those of us that are prepared and wide awake.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, son.
What's going on?
Oh, I just got my shipment of freeze-dried food from the freeze-dry guy. I was laying away our family supplies here.
Dad, you're not planning to have an emergency, are you?
You don't plan to have them. They happen on their own. You plan a response.
Like what? What could go wrong?
Well, imagine you go to the grocery store and it's empty.
Dad, that's paranoid.
That's possible.
It's paranoid.
It's not paranoid to prepare. It's perfectly prudent.
Okay, Pops, I get your point.
Keep it.
But, Dad, what if we never need it? Won't it go bad?
Oh, no, son. You'll have babies of your own, and this stuff will still be as good as it is today. It's good.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dad, maybe we could have a practice emergency.
Test the food out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope we don't have a real emergency, son. But if we do, I intend to survive, and I intend for you to survive, too.
Thanks, Dad.
I better get the rest of this put away.
Call 866-404-3663 or go to freezedryguide.com.
And Body Extract continues to receive positive testimonials from people who have experienced amazing results, like Reed.
I just wanted to send you a quick but a very big thank you for Heart and Body Extract. I've been on the formula for nearly a month now, and the improvement in the circulation of my legs has been simply amazing.
Reed was facing a tough choice.
I was facing surgery due to the severity of the 100% blocked arteries in both my legs. And my decision, waiting for surgery, to say no and try Heart and Body Extract instead, has been thankfully the right decision.
And the result?
I can now walk up steps without noticeable pain.
Order Heart and Body Extract at 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305, or hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract for a long and healthy life.
The people who had the spirit of Antichrist, they are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, naturally. And the world heareth them because it recognizes its own language. But we are of God. He that knoweth God heareth us.
These are the words of 20th century prophet A.W. Tozer. He is the author of over 40 books that you aren't likely to find at your local Christian bookseller. So where can you go to find such inspiration? Introducing Cornerstone Books, with the largest selection available of the writings of A.W. Tozer, Amy Carmichael, Richard Wurmbrand, and countless others. Cornerstone Books makes the truth available worldwide with the detail and personality of a local bookseller. Visit the website at www.cornerstone-unlimited.com for a complete inventory of its authors, as well as audio files and much, much more. That's www.cornerstone-unlimited.com. Or you can call toll-free at 888-239-9890. That's 888-239-9890.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and you have been listening to Dr. Turi, which I use this terminology as our modern-day Nostradamus. He is an astro psychologist in nature in today's terminology, and he has made many, many predictions which have all come true to this point. He has a multitude of followers and listeners because of his accuracy in his predictions. Dr. Turi, this is the thing that I wanted to get to in this second hour. Before I do that, real quick, before I forget, I want to give out the number for anybody who wants to call in, ask Dr. Turi a question, or just make a comment. The number is 1-888-747-1968. Again, that's 1-888 747-1968. Please call in to ask Dr. Turi any question you like. I'm sure if he's able to answer it, he'd be more than happy to do so. But right now, I'd like to answer. I'd like for you to answer this question, Dr. Turi. What about the physical reality of the Earth changes that are taking place right now on this planet?
Well, you have to understand that Pluto is the planet of dying, rebirthing, reincarnation, metamorphosis. Pluto will take a worm in the water and transform it into a butterfly. From the water element into the air element, proving that reincarnation exists. The process involving Pluto is absolutely phenomenal. It is unarguable if you, again, have the eyes to see. So, as far as the physical manifestation, being into the sign of Capricorn, Capricorn is the earth sign, it will certainly produce tremendous tremors in terms of volcano eruptions. And again, I'm going to give some dates. I see tomorrow, let's say, then tomorrow or after tomorrow, I see a very sudden release of energy. And that could translate into, again, either an earthquake or a volcano. You just mark my words. But let's go into the future here. Okay, the month of May and November are going to be months that will be very noticeable in 2012, 2013, and 2014. That's to tell you how far in the future I'm going to tell you where the most powerful manifestation of Pluto will take place. So these are the months that will be very memorable in terms of Earth changes. Okay?
Okay. Yes.
All right. Now, I'm going to go through a set of predictions. And
this will all be recorded and on the podcast, so it'll all be here.
All right. Remember, I'm well ahead of time. I'm all the way to 2014. And as I said, you can go to my website, drturi.com, and hear the discussion I had with Art Bell on Coast to Coast in 1995.
Well, I was listening to that show, by the way, so I'm very well aware.
Okay, good. So that proves to you that in 1995 I saw what was going to transpire.
I've been following you for years, Dr. Turi. That's why I thank you so much for being on my program.
Right. Thank you for your support. So let me go through some of those that I have. Many foreign financial institutions will be forced to merge as to bring more security and peace to their neighboring countries. Now you have to make sense to what I'm channeling. Okay?
Yes.
You have to translate that as you want to translate it, but I'm giving you as is. And in the future, you will see that a lot of financial institutions will be forced to become one institution and one kind of money at the same time. I don't want to go too much into the detail, but that will be a must in order to keep everything peaceful once the turmoil is over. I see also many foreign governments that will have to become friends, mostly with their secret service, because terrorism is going to increase drastically. I see also many foreign mobs. You remember, Pluto rules the criminal element. Mobs, like the banks, are going to merge internationally just to promote more and more of sex and drug trafficking, and that would also bring gang violence right to the roof.
Right.
We are done. We are not done. This scorpionic energy is pretty dramatic, and I cannot spare anybody. I have to see and I have to say. I have to say what I see. Okay?
Yes.
I see right now there is a new internal secret financial police to also combine their efforts internationally to better control the citizen business credit card activities. Of course, that means serious restructure of the police force, okay? And I see also a lot of police officers either being shot, dead, or even committing suicide. I see the police getting a dark energy around them, especially not having cosmic consciousness. Many of them, more than ever, the next few years will be losing their lives. Sad enough. I see also it's a matter of life and death for a lot of organizations, including religious organizations. Many of them will be audited and forced to merge together. How could you have one religious organization becoming a corporation? Guess what? That's the only way they are going to survive. And because Scorpio or Pluto rules secret, everything will be done under the table and will come to light when it's time. They will do all that and merge together to avoid bankruptcy and to avoid losing their supporters.
Dr. Turi, can I ask you this before you go on with the predictions? As I'm listening to you and you're describing what's taking place, it sounds like everything is being consolidated at this point more and more, where multiple organizations become minimized into less organizations or to one organization. And in the process of what the Illuminati or the control structure that wants to control everything right now, that is their intention. Do you see what you are seeing now as a structure of light and positive, or do you see this as a structure of darkness that they actually have been able to be successful, or do we overcome their system of tyrannical control?
Well, I can only repeat what I was saying earlier, Robert. Pluto is in favor of the rich, of the powerful.
Okay.
Secret society. Yeah, you're not on the winning lead here. Okay. So they are growing. They are getting much more power, much more control. That what the control they have now is nothing compared to what they're going to do the next 2 or 3 years. But again, it has a very karmic purpose. But at the end, there is such a thing called karma.
Yes.
They have to implode. They have to die. It's like Hitler. It's like the Roman Empire. They have to grow. They have to impose and stretch their muscles. And one day, they're going to go down. Exactly like America did. Some will come back and some did not come back. America will come back. I can guarantee you that. In America, we come back stronger and better, much better and much stronger and much wiser than before.
You're right, as with all empires at this point.
Yes. So I have absolutely 150% faith on this country to go back where it belongs because it's all written in the stars.
Okay.
Now, I see much more sexual, like freedom of sexuality. Now, I'm not saying that you guys are going to do like we do in France and stand our girls naked on the beaches, but it's going to be a revolution with sex. Maybe girls are going to be topless in America. I don't know. I see a lot of action involving sexuality and a lot of people who have sex secret coming to the light, as we see already taking place with some people in political on the political arena. So you have to remember that also that thousands of sexual abuse cases that was committed by bishops, archbishops, cardinals, priest and God knows what. No one has ever been fired or disciplined. Do you know that?
Yes, very much so.
Now, this will change with Pluto, because Pluto offers wake-up call and brings secrets to light when it's time. It takes his sweet time to do things. He makes you believe you are indestructible. It makes you believe you can control the world, and then he comes with a big 4x4 and knocks you down.
Right. So
Pluto right now.
Right. Pluto shows itself as a duality. In other words, it gives you the understanding that you are going to be in control, but in the back end of it, it really slaps you in the back of the head.
Exactly.
Okay.
And because it rules large financial corporation and secret society, a lot of those financial corporation and secret society will be forced to reevaluate their deceptive, power-oriented maneuver and methodology in order to stay in control. You don't think that it's only us, the people, that are suffering. You have to remember, when the French had this revolution on the 14th of July, 1789, and we burned the Bastille and we cut the neck and the Queen neck and the King Louis XVI's neck.
Yes.
You have to remember they were in power, but they were freaking out when they start to see the population manifesting outside and getting the movement as you have it starting in America and spreading outside of this country. Wait a minute, these people have good reason to worry, so they are working overtime to keep the power, but they think they will keep the power.
Right. But they right, but they only see it through their own small eyeglass, I guess I could use the word.
Yeah. In their mind, they have the money, they have the power, they can pull the strings, they have the politician in power. They have their jurisdictions. They think we're just the peon, we are the ants, we are the workers, and they can do what the hell they want with us. But that is just an illusion. Pluto is always there to give you the wake-up call at the end. And I remember in my third UFO experiences, my older brother, who does not believe in nothing at all, is logical, is practical, is a Scorpio, is into the mafia business. This guy got a 4x4 wake-up call on November 11, 1981, when we had a flying saucer suspended 30 feet above his dead Mercedes in the middle of a road to the vineyard in the south of France. He got his wake-up call.
And has he changed his life since?
Oh, hell yeah. Pluto forces you to wake up. He kept the secret for about 25 years, and then, one day at Christmas table, he stand up and said to all the family, "No, Louis is not crazy. It did happen to us. I think I owe you the truth because now I have children and they have to know the truth." Son of a gun. He waited 25 years, but he died that night and were forced to realize that extraterrestrial and flying saucers are very real. All right, let's move on to what I perceive again. You can also I see emerging parts of old and new banks. They're just going to change name because there is such a big financial implosion. No long ago, you have, I think, another bank went bankruptcy not long ago, yesterday or the day before. So they're changing name. They are playing poker. They're moving things around. They are the same people, but they're doing things to trying to keep away from the financial implosion they are so afraid of. But they will get it with time. So basically, you're going to have new banks with new names, new opportunities, and new credit cards with new technology that will flourish after the collapse.
Well, Dr. Turi, before we go further, is the monetary system going to be backed by gold and silver in order to have a non-fiat money system anymore?
Well, you have to understand gold and silver cannot be deleted. So that's one good thing. It's solid. It's solid.
Right.
But why would the gold and silver do to you if there is no value in any money at all? So people are rushing to invest into gold because they're being manipulated by those big, large corporations again. When the money has no value, nothing has a value. The only thing you have is a war. That's the only thing that can rebirth everything. And sudden enough, I don't want to go there, but I see very well it happening. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you very well, and I'm contemplating what you're saying. So basically, what you're saying is that before anything can change, destruction is going to be the game changer.
You got it. Remember, they pull the strings of all the banks, of all the gold, all the silver.
Yes.
They're playing with your fears, getting richer and richer because of your fears. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, oh my gosh is right. So we're looking at World War III here is what you're saying.
Well,
is that the reality?
Oh yes. They are also developing a new ID system and secret technology, okay? And that will be sold to unaware consumer, maybe through computers or television or God knows what. That would make privacy totally impossible.
Well, privacy is almost totally impossible now with the iPhones.
Well, yeah, but there is much more being built right now with your simple ID card, your social security, your driving license. In technology, we already know that. But, there is already in place right now technology on your television set that allows these people to see you at home.
I'm well aware of that. Yes, I am aware of that.
And it's going to get completely out of order for them to get more power. Remember, the light is green. The light is green for power. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. You can revolution, you can scream, you can dance, you could jump on your head. You are not going to change the universal structure and the will of God. You will not change it. You just have to go through it, cross your fingers, and being smart, okay? The less connection you have with the government, the more power to you. Now try to do that.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, in my case, I work for myself. I still have to pay my tax. Don't get me wrong.
Same
but
here.
I'm not
Yes.
I am not at the mercy of anybody. So out of this tremendous death and rebirth, a lot of people are going to realize how important maybe it is to generate their own paycheck and to be more in charge of their own income. There is a way to invest in the area of Scorpio with insurance, with government loan. The government actually can help with that Pluto energy for investment, but you just have to know where to put the energy. Back in 2007.
Okay, yes, I understand what you're saying, but government is also the perpetrator of this hoax because they are part of the hoax being perpetrated through the money masters.
Yes, and what you have to keep in mind, until 2014, the light is green for the power, not for you, not for the American taxpayer. That's the way it works. There's nothing you can do apart from having a war.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. But also, what I would say is that and this is my belief, Dr. Turi, that if enough people wake up, this war would not take place.
Well, I sincerely and like you aim and hope on that direction, but it's not what the star says, my friend.
Okay.
Be aware. Be prepared. Okay?
I am prepared.
All right. Now, what's going to be interesting, once everything is said and done and the karma has been passed, many of those current, present, manipulative, large, financial established corporations, they will be forced to expose their own accumulated wealth, and they will be audited. Worse than that, the IRS himself, okay?
Yes.
The IRS himself will go under an implosion and being audited by a secret financial police, which is in the building as I'm speaking to you.
Now this I did not know.
A little bit. Let's change subject because I don't want to fry your brain just for the time.
No, I didn't know this. This is news to me. This is
And I am ahead of you. I'm 4 or 5 years ahead of you, my friend. The entire RIS is going to implode like the Middle East.
So is that a good thing for us?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They will not be able to do what they want with us anytime they feel like. Oh, gosh. Now, you have to remember Pluto rules also secrets. Anything that is under the table that must be kept secret. But because he is also divulging secrets, it will impose the secrets of the reality of extraterrestrial and UFO phenomena to come to the light. That's going to be a good one for the people that are into ufology. They will be forced to acknowledge every single thing that they did or what they are doing with extraterrestrials currently.
So in regards to that, what you're basically saying is that there's going to be a revealment of the technology that has been hidden from the people of the world, and there could be at that point the destruction of the oil-based nuclear-based system.
Exactly.
Okay.
My gosh, you have to understand that plutonium to a certain level also involves cold fusion. So there will be new technology involving propulsion, new information coming from extraterrestrials also passed on, not only to the government, but also to the masses. There is no way that the truth can be held underground for long. Right now, all these people are in denial. They have the money, they have the power, they have the structure, they have been operating on their social base, on their secret society base for centuries. They have absolutely no idea that the door has to be open and the light is coming in their own dark endeavors. This is very serious. We are moving into an energy where everything that's dead must be born again and everything that's alive must be dying. We are moving into a rebuilding of a new philosophy, of a new understanding, of a new spirituality, of a new monetary system, of a new governmental system. You're talking about humanity getting a wake-up call to reality as is. All the people hold the strings will not have those strings anymore.
Well, I look forward to that. Because it's a total restructuring of what we perceive as humanity right now.
Yeah, it is not restructuring is a small word. Use the word rebirthing because it's going to be dramatic.
Okay.
And remember, Pluto rules death and drama. This is why I see a very serious upsurge also in suicide and a lot of cops being killed.
Well,
because
I agree with you. Because I can see the behaviors of police and how they're acting towards innocent people protesting for their own rights as human beings on this planet right now, with their behavior totally disregarding their rights as human beings.
That's changing drastically. Let's go back to the RS a little bit, okay?
Yes.
Many large financial banking corporations, not just the RS, but also many large financial banking corporations, they are on the process of imploding and restructure, okay? I mentioned it earlier, 2 or 3 days ago, a big bank went belly up again. Okay, now, mark my words, expect much secrets and abuse to surface from the IRS. The IRS has done so bad. They are as guilty as can be. Now, as I'm speaking to you, okay, it won't take too long before those in power start to write new laws. Okay, those new laws will be written to protect the IRS auditing its own self. This is serious. You're talking about the IRS now.
Yes.
It is the IRS going to die. The IRS going to be born again. The IRS will be forced to expose their own paperwork and the abuse and the billions of dollars that skip from the IRS into foreign countries. Oh, wait a minute here.
Yeah.
There is so much manipulation, so much masquerade, and coming from the IRS itself. That's going to the light.
Dr. TURI, this is incredible. This is incredible revelations that you're bringing forward here, and we're coming up on a break here. But this is simply astounding and so profound. I don't even know what to say at this point. I can't wait to hear the rest of this. I'm on the edge of my seat as you're speaking. So everybody stick with us. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino. You're listening to Dr. TURI. Basically, he is the super Nostradamus at this point, and considered the astropsychologist of our times because he's so accurate with his predictions. I'm just astounded at this point. So everybody stick with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Hello, fellow patriots. This is Big John Lipscomb. There are just two types of people in the world. Those that see the world outside of themselves and therefore can finally estimate the direction things like the economy, the government, and society is headed, and those that can't. The majority of the people in the world are absolutely clueless to the trends and manipulations that go on around our world. To them, everything is by chance and in disorder. As a result of this ignorance, these people are always caught by surprise when governments fail, wars begin, and economies collapse. Every day, with each choice, you define which group you are in. SurvivalistSeeds.com and PatriotFood.com for the rest of us, those of us that are prepared and wide awake.
Hi, Dad.
Oh, son.
What's going on?
Oh, just got my shipment of freeze-dried food from the freeze-dry guy. I was laying away our family supplies here.
Dad, you're not planning to have an emergency, are you?
You don't plan to have them. They happen on their own. You plan a response.
Like what? What could go wrong?
Well, imagine you go to the grocery store and it's empty.
Dad, that's paranoid.
That's possible.
It's paranoid.
It's not paranoid to prepare. It's perfectly prudent.
Okay, Pops, I get your point.
Keep it.
But, Dad, what if we never need it? Won't it go bad?
Oh, no, son. You'll have babies of your own, and this stuff will still be as good as it is today. And it's good, too. Believe me, I've had some.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Dad, maybe we could have a practice emergency.
Test the food out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, let's hope we don't have a real emergency, son. But if we do, I intend to survive, and I intend for you to survive, too.
Thanks, Dad.
I better get the rest of this put away.
Call 866-404-3663 or go to freezedryguide.com.
Heart and Body Extract continues to receive positive testimonials from people who have experienced amazing results, like Reed.
I just wanted to send you a quick but a very big thank you for Heart and Body Extract. I've been on the formula for nearly a month now, and the improvement in the circulation of my legs has been simply amazing.
Reed was facing a tough choice.
I was facing surgery due to the severity of the 100% blocked arteries in both my legs. And my decision, waiting for surgery, to say no and try Heart and Body Extract instead, has been thankfully the right decision.
And the result?
I can now walk up steps without noticeable pain.
Order Heart and Body Extract at 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305, or hbextract.com. Heart and Body Extract. Long and healthy life.
The people who had the spirit of Antichrist, they are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, naturally. And the world heareth them because it recognizes its own language. But we are of God. Ye that know the God heareth us.
These are the words of 20th century prophet A.W. Tozer. He is the author of over 40 books that you aren't likely to find at your local Christian bookseller. So where can you go to find such inspiration? Introducing Cornerstone Books, with the largest selection available of the writings of A.W. Tozer, Amy Carmichael, Richard Wurmbrand, and countless others. Cornerstone Books makes the truth available worldwide with the detail and personality of a local bookseller. Visit the website at www.cornerstone-unlimited.com for a complete inventory of its authors, as well as audio files and much, much more. That's www.cornerstone-unlimited.com. Or you can call toll-free at 888-239-9890. That's 888-239-9890.
And welcome back, everybody. This is the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and you have been listening to Dr. Louis Turi. He is our modern-day Nostradamus, but more so, he is called in this day and era our astro psychologist, and is very, very aware, very in tune with our universe and our solar system, and understands astrology more so than most, and is able to make incredible predictions, and has been very, very accurate to this point. And what is to come has just been extraordinary, what he's been talking about. And I want to give out the number again for anybody who'd like to call into the show. The number is 1-888-747 1968. And Dr. Turi, coming into this last half of the show, we do have a caller on the line, and I want to go ahead and bring him online with us right now to have him ask you a question. Caller, welcome to the show, and please ask Dr. Turi your question.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure whether it was me or not.
It is you.
Question about a specific state. The state of Arkansas in the late 1940s was told that they needed to build a statewide system of reservoirs to ensure that they could provide water for everybody. If they didn't, and continued to pump the groundwater out, they would eventually run out of groundwater, which was predicted for about this time period. Do you have any perception about whether and when the state of Arkansas will exhaust its groundwater and not be able to support the current population anymore?
Robert, I did not hear. He fades away, and I didn't hear. I just heard the state of Arkansas. That's all.
Oh, go ahead, Roger. Restate what you wanted to say to Dr. Turi.
Louder, so I can listen, can hear.
Okay. In the late 1940s, they were told that they needed to build a
statewide... I still do not hear anything.
You
might get to the point. What?
Okay, well, but can you hear me, Dr. Turi?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
In essence, what our caller is asking in Kentucky, that basically there has been a water shortage for Arkansas, that there's been a water shortage for a certain amount of time, and that they've been predicting that the water is going to run out at a certain time. Do you see that happening in the near future?
Okay, first of all, for me to deal with any state or any country, I need the integration or the date of birth of the state. But I cannot use my software to answer that one. But I want him to know that the head of the dragon is in a fire sign, and when the head of the dragon moves into the water sign, there will be plenty of water in Arkansas, much more than what he can dream of. So tell him not to let his fear override or science or anything else give him answers when there is no cosmic consciousness, there is only fears. That water will be there when comes the time, and I see that happening. as soon as the head of the dragon moves in Scorpio, which will be around August 2012. A lot of water there.
Caller,
Okay.
did you get that?
Second question I had to do with the end of 2012. There's plenty of evidence that a human behavior-generated crisis could occur, and also indications a natural crisis could occur. Can he provide some insight into whether or not it will be a man-made or natural crisis? And thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Dr. Turi, did you hear that, or did you need me to
No,
repeat that?
What I can tell you is that any evidence he may have are from a scientific or logical point of view. I'm not coming from the logical, scientific point of view. I'm coming from the stars. And I can only repeat myself. Once the dragon moves into a water sign, water will come down. Right now, the head of the dragon is in a fire sign, producing all sorts of wind, all sorts of a shortage with water and fire. That's why we had so many tornadoes and so many fire in Texas last couple of years. Just tell him to be patient. I can see water pouring down in the state of Arkansas. No problem.
Right, absolutely. What I think what he asked also was in the last question before he hung up was that the state of this transformation into 2012. He's saying that, do you see this as being man-made or a physical earthly manifestation that's taking place on the planet right now?
No, it's all spiritual. It's all coming from the stars. I've explained that earlier. It's all coming from the cosmic code. In the year 2012, it's a golden gate. It's an opening to humanity, being able to perceive the spirit. Now listen to this. When this dragon moves in Scorpio, anything and everything dealing with death, secret, decomposition, reincarnation, rebirthing, the spirits, metaphysics, astrology, this will become the focus of humanity's attention. It is not yet. It will be there. So the year 2012 is an opening to a higher vibration for humanity's spirit to get rid of the age of Pisces and religion and deception and get more into the spiritual values in understanding the new faith and the truths of God. That's what it comes down to it. Meantime, those born in April and October will be targeted by the dragon in Scorpio in the house of death. Okay? So many of them will have to die and rebirth themselves physically, spiritually, financially, and if they are dealing with the wrong element, they're going to end up being killed because the dragon always aims for a certain sign. Like last few years when the dragon was in Leo, I said be ready for tremendous amount of famous people being killed and children dying. Next thing you know, Mike Tyson lost his daughter. Chat, what is his name? The son of a very famous actor died also. I can't remember his name right now.
Well, that's okay. I can't remember it either, but obviously that this happened.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to tell you, if you take the time to evaluate my prediction of the past, you will see that if they came to pass, then the future, you could trust me for the future. If you go to drturi.com and click on predictions, you can read all those predictions.
Yes.
And all that I've seen. But what I'm trying to tell you, I am coming from such a high spiritual level that is very difficult for people when they have not been trained to think stars, to think spirits. It is not their gift. No, you got people out there that are master in building gearboxes and building very safe bridges. Then you have other people that are magical with the art and doing music or dancing. Each human being is extraordinarily complex and reflects its UCI, or unique celestial identity, a program that has been imposed by the Creator, which is coming from the stars, which is much more than dead rocks hanging out there for the sake of beauty. We are into such an interesting time, and the scorpionic energy also rules the occult and witchcraft. or what Christians perceive as witchcraft, which is actually supreme wisdom. When this energy is going to hit the world as we approach the year 2012, more and more people are going to be tuned to what I'm saying. They're going to be driven to dig into the spirit instead of trusting science, conspiracy, or their government. There is so much that humanity has to uncover. And the year 2012 is the end of the age of Pisces and the beginning, the true beginning of the age of Aquarius, which will endorse, promote, and support the impossible, the incredible, and the rebirthing of humanity into the golden age. It's not the world.
Yes. See, I understand clearly what you're saying, that you're definitely seeing a split in the thought pattern. Now, the reality is of what you said earlier is that there is a massive change taking place. The banking industry is going to implode on itself. There's going to be a restructuring of everything that has been corrupted. Okay, but with that happening, there's going to be a lot of upheaval, and there's going to be, unfortunately, a lot of death. I hate even thinking or using those kind of words, but this is what you're seeing. You've been very accurate in your predictions, and we'll leave it at that. The other thought here, or the other sector, is that the physical earth changes that are taking place now, in my mind, would say that yes, you have this ring of fire that has taken place. The volcanic activity has risen tremendously, and the increase in earthquakes has been exponential at this point. So as all this is manifesting, is this part of the 2012 scenario? And I'm just asking this, is this part of the 2012 scenario that has been physically manifested by humanity, or is it just part of the cyclical process that the universe goes through, or our solar system goes through?
You just answer yourself perfectly of your last sentence, but let me point out something, Robert. Remember, 100 years ago, if you had a big earthquake in Japan, there is no way people in Europe or in America would even know about it unless there is a big, huge tsunami hitting them. You have to understand that the technology that we have nowadays makes anything that happens on the other side of the world right into your plate when you're having dinner. You need to keep that in mind. The information process is not the same than what it used to be before technology was available. A lot of natural disasters that took place over the centuries were never, ever acknowledged. Now the entire world knows almost immediately. And anything that is happening anywhere on this planet is immediately reported.
Yes, it's instant access, absolutely.
And in the process, people let their fears, their imagination, they've been fed by apocalyptic teachers since they were born, especially in America, which is a country that was born upon puritanical religious principle. We're all going to go to hell. That God is going to punish us. This is all bull.
Of course.
And when comes that Scorpio, that Plutonic energy in the year 2012, a lot of people are going to realize, oh my God, the year 2012 came and passed, and I'm still here. Maybe these people need a wake-up call. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Maybe they need to realize that they do not apply their critical thinking properly, because, of course, they are victims by not having the right people to talk to them, to educate them. They only have science. They only have conspiracy. They only have religion, and none of the elite who run the political world, the conspiracy world, the scientific world, the religious world have cosmic consciousness. All they have is imagination, and there is only one thin hair between divine information and pure imagination. Add technology on top of that, and that's it. Now, put the tail of the dragon in the subconscious of the United States, and when I mentioned the form of dementia affecting people, especially those born in July, because America is born July 4, 1776, and those born in January, these are the ones that are going to suffer the dragon much more. On the other hand, when the dragon is going to hit the sign of Scorpio and Taurus, then those born in November and those born in May are going to go to very, very deep psychological changes.
You're right. You're
no
absolutely right. And you just, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but you mentioned July because I gave you my birthday earlier, and I was born in July 16th, not 7th, 76, but July 16th, 1966. Yet I've understood everything you've told me, and I put perspective to all this. And I absorb it and try and put it to a realization of not cataclysmic destruction, but a change that is absolute, that always happens. Change is the universal structure that has to happen.
Now you're talking. You know, when I did my last conference in Los Angeles with George Norrie, I was on the panel, and there was somebody also born in July. Actually, I cannot say names or anything else, but what I can tell you, he was just firmly believing that Japan was going to go under the ocean in the year 2012. Now, this person didn't have cosmic consciousness. He did not know that the tail of the dragon was in his subconscious, and he could not differentiate reality from fiction. There are some conspiracy talker that I cannot say names, but what I'm going to tell you, I did reading for those people, okay? And I told these people, you are going to remove yourself in a remote island, and you're going to write books, and the tail of the dragon in your subconscious is going to really affect you, okay? And most of the time, some of these people also smoke pot. The next thing you know, they start to see people in power turning into lizards or turning into evil. I mean, there is no... When you deal with the tail of the dragon in your subconscious, there is a lot of suicide. There is a lot of depression. There is a lot of dementia and schizophrenia coming in. This is serious. The big problem is traditional psychology and psychiatries have absolutely no clue of what the tail of the dragon does in the subconscious of any human being.
Right, because they've never been taught.
No, and what do? They use Prozac and Ritalin to turn these people into zombies, and they accelerate the suicidal process.
Very well put.
Pain. This is totally insane. But, hey, this is what I can do, educate people from what I know to be true. I remember when I had the tail of the dragon many years ago in my own subconscious. My God, I found myself in the street wondering who I was, where I was going, and I was going totally insane. I had another person who lost her dog when the tail of the dragon was in the subconscious. That person froze the dog into a freezer and paid to have a body put someplace after in a freezer to bring it alive in a few years from now. My God.
Jeez, that's insane.
People depressed and crying every day. I mean, when the tail of the dragon is in your subconscious, it could be a dog, it could be a pet, it could be a person, it could be a divorce, it could be losing a job, it could be breaking your car. It's enough to commit suicide because it is not the excuse, it is not the happening, it is that energy messing up your subconscious where there is no sense of reality. But again, I'm a little bit ahead of time when it comes to deal with what it means to be human.
And again, what does it mean to be human? I mean, I do this talk show, and I deal with so many different areas of intelligence and expertise like yourself, Dr. Turi, who bring so much information, and I try and digest this in my subconscious to make sense of everything that I'm learning, and then to decipher and cipher and filter the things that make sense in my life.
let me insert that real fast. People, Robert, can only relate to me, or to you, for that matter. Now listen to this. Because of their education, their intelligence, their experiences, but most of all, their UCI, unique celestial identity, their stars. And that is the list they know. They know about science, they know about experience, they know about education, they know nothing of the cosmic code. And you wonder why a mother at home is going to have a fight with a daughter because she is genetically 150% related to her mother physically. But in the world of the spirit, that child is the biggest stranger because she will never speak, think, behave, or have the same fate as a mother. In other words, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father is your biggest stranger because he does not have the same UCI. On the physical level, you are a perfect replica of your family. But on the spiritual world, you are a total stranger. And there is no enough investigation, no enough money spent in that direction. They would rather spend $2.5 billion to send a little thing on Mars, for God's sake, than to take care of Mother Earth, which is our only satellite. This is insane. These people who own power and money don't want to work a normal job. They want to spend their life building this little robot, send it to Mars, knowing very well that it's impossible to live on Mars because it's like asking a fish to come out of the ocean and stuck that fish with a scaphandre and ask him to behave like a human and breathe air. No, he was made by God to live on this watery world and this watery element like humans are meant to live on Earth, not on freaking Mars. But those people have the money, they have the power, and they are wasting $2.5 billion, and they're doing this for their children. Because if they manage by any miracle, which would never happen, by the way, to move on Mars because they know the Earth is done, they will not bring your children, but their children are there. And people do not challenge the extraordinary West taking place with NASA, with so many scientific experiments that are running this country 150 miles per hour. This is insane.
I couldn't agree with you more. That you stated that with eloquent precision, with laser precision, so to speak. Dr. TURI, you're an incredible man with insight that mimics my own thoughts. You are an eloquent speaker, and you are able to bring forward your thoughts much clearer than I can sometimes, because my thought process sometimes gets jumbled up in the non-reality of what we live in, and trying to make sense of everything that is transpiring on this planet right now. But I want to tell you this: I want to thank you for being on the show, and I truly hope I can have you back on this broadcast. You're an inspiration to me, sir, and an inspiration to everyone around you. Excuse me, and everyone who listens to you, and I continue and will continue to follow your work. And please, very quickly, let everyone know where they can get your information and be a participant in the future events that you predict so eloquently.
Thank you so much. It takes one to know one, and a magnet will attract a piece of wood. You vibrate at a very high spiritual level, and that's why we connect, no accident. Meantime, I do have a website, drturi.com, very simple, drturi.com. Right there you have to find the cosmic code, and there I put all my predictions. I guide people every month. I do their forecast, their transits for the entire year. So just investigate my work, and one more time, thank you for having me, Robert, and be positive, please. Remember, the future is actually nothing else than the reincarnation of the thought. Be positive, That's the main thing.
And I bless you, and I thank you so very much. And I'll be in contact with you to have you back on this program in the future. And everybody, this has been the Whole Agenda Radio Show. I'm your host, Robert Pepino, and you have had the incredible experience of listening to Dr. Turi, his predictions, and what is to come for the future. And tomorrow night, we'll have Ralph Ring and Marsha Ring with us, two incredible guests who will enlighten you on the esoteric ether of the knowledge and information that has been kept from us for a very long time. God bless you. Take care and have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.